Hi everyone. Thank you, Monica, for sharing your dreams, and Andrew for assuring me that fear of other people's opinion is actually okay, even coming from you. My name is Julianne, and I would like to invite all of you to start thinking about this question if you haven't already. What is success to you? I'd like to begin with that question. And my response is very, very simple. Material success, wealth, how much money I make in a year, power, how much I've climbed in the corporate ladder, accelerating as fast in my career as possible, and how much recognition I have in awards, and what accolades have I achieved on this shiny shelf, like what Karen had mentioned. And these were my criteria of how successful my life would be. I was extremely focused since the age of 16, and I knew exactly what my dreams were, to be a private banker, which I did, in fact, reach the destination. But God has a very funny way, of actually speaking to us. He meets us at exactly where we are. So He brought me to this place that I really wanted, and He said, hey, look, there's actually a lot more in store for you. But I said, no, Lord, that's not what I want. So the story unfolds like this. One day, I was working on a work-related issue, waiting for a meeting at 11 p.m. This was COVID times, by the way. And in that time, I decided to do what, many of us at lunchtime, we will go for lunch talks, right? And we'll say, yeah, I'm aware of health checks, making sure that I check my my body, and make sure that I look, I check, and I do what's required. And I noticed something in the mirror. I thought it was pretty suspicious. There was actually a lump on my chest, very visual. And I said, okay, I better get myself checked the next day. And so I did. And that was where the journey had begun. Just before the series of checks, which was for 2 weeks, I actually was going into different rooms, meeting with different medical team to get the different tests done. And I remember on the very first occasion how I was so busy preparing for a town hall, going into the next meeting, and actually into the medical room and wearing this garb. And there I met our Lord, who said, hey, Jules, what if you are diagnosed with cancer? Of course, I did not think of that. I actually went on to the next room, and this happened for the next 2 weeks. The Lord has a plan for me, and His plan was to actually slow me down. 2 weeks later, I was actually diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and to my bewilderedness, this was the next 12 months for me. Everything was stopped, and I was ejected out of my successful life, which I had met all the criteria. And in this time, I was dressed in corporate dresses, and my 6-inch stilettos addressed the part today. And the Lord says, no, I'm going to pursue you. Hot on your heels, here I come. And He actually did it through my family, who is very pleasantly here today. He said, you are so busy back to back, being so productive and efficient all the time. But have you actually slowed down to enjoy your friends, the home that you have? So I actually called my friends, and I didn't know what to do. The next day, my friend actually said, okay, come Jules, let's pray. I said, no, that's the last thing on my mind. Come on, let's pray. I said, okay, fine, let's meet online, right? And so this picture has now become a picture that is etched in my memory. The first relationships that I had formed, and my good friends of faith came, and Faith, by the way, is here, and actually prayed for me. I thought, what could it have done, But now looking back, this really, really formed and solidified my friendships with the people who really matter. I think the second most thing that I could not really feel on a normal day, being back to back in meetings and being so heavily involved in church as well as I was everywhere, was actually my family, who prepared the food that I wanted. Like my mom would say, yes, here's the dal. And I say, no mom, I don't want to eat whatever that you prepared for me because the taste buds had changed. And then my family would go all around the different parts of the island just to get the food that I wanted. I would never have enjoyed Newton's circus stingray nor the char kway teow if it wasn't for slowing down. And then I experienced that the hawker food that I did not want to eat, I now started eating and enjoying. Because hey, I wanted to have a very lean figure the whole time throughout my whole life, but now instead of picking up the bucket to vomit like some people would, I actually picked up bowls and bowls of food, enjoying all the hawker food that I wanted. And the Lord also showed me through other things, like friendships that I never had the time to. I'm one of those friends, right, who would say, yeah, okay, I'll be at the party, okay? But then I would never be the one to go and order the birthday cake nor get the present. I'll just turn up. I don't know if any of you are like that. So I'm one of those lousy friends. And I always told myself that I wanted to be a better friend. But I never had the time, right? God gives me time. I'm very productive. I achieve, high achiever, right? But then my friends actually came to my balcony and we did silly things, and I really just enjoyed their company, wearing hats and just their presence. And so I started to enjoy my me time, my coffee. My goodness, I would go to different cafes, make it something to do every day, even throughout the whole 6 months of chemotherapy, that I would make a point to go to different cafes. Okay, how many of you here actually are creatures of comfort and always go back to the same cafe? I'm one of them, because I need to get my coffee and get to work. But this was a very conscious effort that the Lord kept prompting me, do something different every single day. And so I went. I took the train. You'll never ever find me in the hawker center. My family would attest to that, ever. 38 years of my life, I will never be seated in a hawker center with anyone, not even myself. So I'm one of those haughty people, right? And I knew it. And here was I, actually secretly, one day I actually bought a kopi for like 110, and I sat at the coffee shop by myself. And I thought to myself, wow, I actually have changed. Just these little things, right? Every single day, a little bit something different. As I went through this whole 6 months, I realized that this was not really me talking. It was actually the Lord speaking to me, I always use my head, all about, getting the different achievements. But I never really used my heart. And by the way, I'm in the banking industry. There's no such thing as using your heart, right? It's all about revenue generating, achieving different KPIs for the bank when you're in management. But I think the Lord speaks to us in a very different frequency, and He inspires us in every single way that's only unique to us. And I knew for a fact that this was Him speaking because my heart was on fire wherever I went. As I started to explore, there's this freedom of boundaries, which means that you actually have that freedom to be fruitful in whatever that we are doing in those set boundaries. We also have that time to rest, and this is sacred, which we never really do, or I never did. And there's also that relationships, the solidarity of connecting with one another, like what Lauren said. And to actually have that freedom, that joy to explore, to be in awe of nature, which I think a lot of productive, efficient Singaporeans in this room here, I can see that we will all use our lunchtime, right, to get as competent as we can and increase the knowledge by, networking, right, Calista? Or something like that. And I think there's these things that I attach myself to that were bound. I bind myself to all these things that would not really be something that I would be able to discover, the talents that I have. I never have the courage to be like Andrew, to actually go on a path, because I just wanted to be ordinary and just a rat on the mill. I did not have the courage to be like Friar Gerald, to actually choose a different path. I would never actually be able to do any of this, what I'm doing today, because I just wanted to be on the path as everyone else is, but at the top. And these are the attachments that I subscribe to. I hold them so dearly, and this was right in the center of my life. But I now know that I have actually managed to, okay, by years of formation, by the nagging of the parish priest and the, I come from Church of St. Michael, by the way, that years of formation actually really does help. I'm formed by the listening, the little things that we actually, go and spend that half an hour just listening really does come into play, because my feet were firmly on the ground and I know His promises are real when I was diagnosed with breast cancer stage 3, and I know in that room the Holy Spirit was with us. I don't know what overcame me, but I was definitely not in denial. My family was there, and there was calmness, and there was an awe that swept over me and says that regardless, I'm there with you and every step of the way. So my family asked me today, what's that one important message that I have to share with everyone? And amongst the over preparation that I did today, there's only one thing that I'd like to share, which is whatever that we have in our heads, and when it shifts down to our heart, and you know that there is joy and there is peace, and there's that sense of freedom, that joy, that awe, that discovery, that freedom to just roam in whatever space that you're in, that's where really the Holy Spirit is. And that is where God truly lives with us, and He speaks to us in very, very different ways. So unlike the thief that comes in the night, that steals the joy because we compare ourselves, like what Brother Andrew says, right? Don't do that, because it's so easy to subscribe to comparing ourselves, but because of that envy and that comparison, we have fear of other people's opinions, that fear of FOMO or FOPO, whatever it is, that it really robs us of where we are meant to be. And in conclusion, when we do explore and be different, and we finally, where we can, some of our World Youth Day friends are here, many of us have attested that where we truly open up and actually make that decision to say, Lord, let's be open and consider that there could be something beyond my understanding, that if we are willing to take that leap, that it could be possible that there's so much more in store. So I conclude that my new mission now, so I've moved away from and managed to leave what I was so attached to and replace God in the center of my life now. And I would say that with this new mission, and now that's how Strong, Bold, Grateful, the company, the platform that inspires hope for life change through stories, through talks, and through seminars for people who are going through cancer, and in the future, executives and families to actually overcome challenges and to find who am I, what is my identity, what is my purpose, and what on earth am I here for? Can't be just about surely achieving things, right? It has to be more self-serving and to actually live the life that God has made us to be. So I thank you for hearing my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's so amazing that, given your personality, right, like you were striving so hard for the worldly things, but now you're striving equally hard for the godly things, right? Like what's said in the gospel, be ambitious for the higher gifts, right? Okay, so